Good morning. Welcome to the John Mendola Show here on WILK. We are driven by McCarthy Tire Service, locations in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Kingston, Hazleton, and Williamsport. Well, the weather of the last, 4 or 5 Saturdays has been a lot of precipitation. There's been some snow, some rain today. Getting a little bit of break right now, but some clouds out there. Nonetheless, some high school football games from last night. We had the opportunity to deal with two teams from our area. You can say, hey, Southern Columbia is still from our area here in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. They made it, so congratulations to the Tigers, Lackawanna Trail, Steve Jervis. We're going to talk with both of those coaches coming up, and what a fine year again for Terry Gallagher and Scranton Prep. Lost last night, but again, another incredible run for them. Well, we're going to welcome in the West Scranton boys basketball team here. Coach Lyons is with us this morning. And Jack, always great to see you. And let's talk about basketball season. How's it going there, Westside?
Good, John. Thank you very much for having us. And very excited with this year's team. We have great leadership and kids that work very, very hard. And obviously, you have a great coaching staff with Paul Doherty, Craig Malin, Joe Walsh, and Cullen Fanning, and led by 3 seniors, Nick Joya, Jalen Gregory, and Gino Salmon, and a lot of great younger players that we have here. So they'll always play hard, and that's our motto in West Scranton. Just play hard, you play smart, and you play together, and we're looking forward to a great year and a great league that we have.
You can't ever take things for granted, Coach. How many years you're going at this thing, and how much fun you still have in there at West Scranton?
This is number 46, John. I'm getting pretty old, but it's still great to be around young kids and try to teach them a lot of life lessons. And, you know, they accept the discipline, and, you know, they really, really, really accept that kids are kids. You know, times have changed, but they're still looking for the discipline, and they're still looking for leadership. And that's, I think, what we provided, and I'm still excited about still doing it.
Well, Paul Doherty is with us. And, Paul, welcome into the show. You're assistant coach with Coach Lyons.
Yeah.
For you, talk a little bit about being around this program with Coach and what it's been like for you.
Well, it's always an adventure. I'll say that I was really young when I started coaching with Coach Lyons. This will be my 26th season being with him. And, just like he does with the student athletes, it's a learning experience for me also. And, having the opportunity to be involved in my community and being able to give back is certainly, what's beneficial to me. But I really enjoy seeing these young men come through the program and being successful as they leave.
I look at you as a young guy. You're 26 years with Coach Lyons. Let's talk a little bit about how things change over time. And obviously, Coach Lyons, there's got to be some things that are they're unbendable rules, unbendable things that you do there in the program, but you got to adapt a little bit with the youth. So talk a little bit about what you've seen with Coach Lyons over the decades and what's changed and what's still the same there at West Scranton.
Believe it or not, he's mellowed out. It was, when I started with him, we were at Scranton High School, and we had very good teams over at Scranton with Willie Chandler and John Lyons' son and Dave Staples, and the intensity was actually much higher. And the young athletes that you're going to talk to here probably find that very difficult to believe. But he's mellowed a little bit, but the message has always been the same. He demands perfection, and that's something that sometimes is missing from our society, and it's good that. He keeps that they're responsible for that level of performance.
Coach Lyons, for you, as you say, your assistant coaches really have a big role in what they do. Talk about you guys getting in the gym and getting in practice. It's a special place there at West Scranton, and that gymnasium holds a lot of memories, I'm sure.
Absolutely, John. I mean, I grew up in West Scranton, and I always wanted to end my coaching career back in West Scranton because it's a special group of people. The West Scranton people, get perceived sometimes in the wrong way, but they're the most giving, helpful people. They'll always come and help people. And our kids, our players here, the 4 guys I have here today are perfect examples of that. They'll reach out and help other people. They play hard, but yet the life lessons we try to teach, is obvious. And they know, on and off the court, they have to hold themselves to a higher standard. And I tell them all the mistakes that I made in my life. And, you got to take responsibility. And I think the job of a high school coach is to really teach them about how to get ready for life. It's not about the wins and the losses. It's about how you're going to handle yourself in life, because you're always going to get hit with adversity, and that's where character comes out. And I think that's what our program is so special, because we teach, when you fail, you have to pick yourself up and you have to really come back. And that's the key to a lot of our success.
Yeah, I think that's an important message as an educator, and I know Paul has a big responsibility as an educator as well, as let them know, hey, you're human. Guys like us or other educators are going to make mistakes, and we have to make sure the kids understand that we're human as well, and let them know that it's okay. And as you're younger, you make a little bit more. Coach, we talk about this team. We're going to talk about Nick Joya first. So tell us a little bit about what he brings as a senior this year, what you're excited about for him this year, 2018-19.
Well, Nick is a tremendous young man, and he suffered a gruesome knee injury last year as a quarterback of the football team, and he was out the whole year of football and basketball and baseball. And he's trying to come back this year. He's our leader, a senior, a multiple sport athlete, as all our kids are. They play everything. But Nick is a very, very special young man. Has come through some hard times in his life, but he has a great support system. And, he's just a great, great competitor, great leader, and a great human being. And I'm very, very proud to be able to coach him.
All right, let's welcome in Nick Joya here on the John Mendola Show. Senior go-around for you, Nick. Let's talk about coming off that injury, when it happened, and how you're kind of fighting back from that.
Well, the injury it happened in August last year in the football game against Dunmore, and it was really bad.
Going through that injury and then going through the whole rehab process, what was that like? Did you second guess yourself? I'm sure many times, saying, I don't know if I want to keep going here, and now finally you're able to come back and play some more sports.
Yeah, I never thought I always knew I was going to come back. I was going to work hard in therapy and everything to get better so I could play again.
Let's talk about your love of the game, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever you're involved with. Do you have a favorite? Football. And as far as the next level, are you thinking about maybe playing football at the next level, or are you kind of thinking maybe the sports career is gonna move on, and you're gonna go to the academic end?
No, I'm looking to play at the next level.
Nice. What do you like about this year's team out there on the basketball court?
I like how we're all like friends. We all work hard and everything. We always have each other's backs and everything.
All right, let's talk a little bit about, you have a younger brother?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what he's up to.
He lives in Rhode Island with my grandfather, and he goes to Westerly High School, and he plays soccer, baseball, and basketball.
All right, so another multi-talented fella there in the family. That's pretty nice. Biology and chemistry, a couple subjects that you like. 35th in your class, that's outstanding. Talk about the hard work you do academically.
I always work hard in school, I always study and everything, make sure I get good grades.
Let's talk a little bit about your role model, your grandfather, and why you look up to him.
My grandpa is the greatest man in the world. Did everything for me since I was little and everything, and I always look up to him.
Awesome. And how about your relationship with Coach Lyons, Coach Doherty? Talk about leaning on them sometimes and talking to them. And sometimes, you get those relationships, whether it's a teacher or coach, and they're more than that. That they'll listen to you and hopefully give you some good advice as well.
I've known Coach Doherty forever, since baseball, since we played at North Scranton Little League and everything. When I met Coach Lyons, I knew he was tough, but I knew he was a good guy.
All right. He is pretty tough, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, Nick, we hope you have a successful season. Great to catch up with you.
Thank you.
All right, Nick Joya there, involved in the Spanish club, the drama club, and doing some great stuff, that's for sure. Let's get back over to Coach Lyons. And actually, first, I want to talk Coach Doherty. Coach, tell us a little bit about your relationship there with Nick and talking about some of those early days in baseball. And before we get to our next young fella, give us a little story about Nick.
Oh, geez. I met him. Oh, man, he couldn't have been older than 7 or 8 when I met him, and he was always an absolute tremendous athlete. And it was at times he could be difficult to coach because he was so high energy. You never had to motivate him. He was always the first guy running out on the field. Sometimes before it was ready, like, Nick, come on, there's only 2 outs there. We don't have to go out there yet. And but always a tremendous kid. Like he said, his grandfather was always there providing support, and he always has a smile on his face. And last year, after the knee injury, it was very difficult for him because he's always been such a young man that participated in athletics and not a guy that sits around the house. And all summer before he was even medically cleared, we had to, talk to him about not being outside playing pickup basketball because he just couldn't stay in the house. And, just a young man with such a tremendous work ethic ever since the time that I met him, 10, 11 years ago, and just a great personality. And certainly when he ends up playing football at the next level, he'll be a welcome addition to wherever he ends up.
I appreciate that insight there. Nick Joya from assistant coach Paul Doherty. Back over to Coach Lyons. Coach Payton Davis is with us today, so tell us a little bit about what he brings to the table.
This is an ironic story. Payton's grandfather played on my first team in 1972 at West Catholic. So, there's a little family tree there. But Payton is a very, very intense, emotional, an outstanding athlete. He leaves everything out there. He's quick. He can score. He's a great defender. And now he's coming off an injury from football on his wrist. So we're only in practice 12. He was able to start yesterday. But he will be an important factor in this team's success because of his athleticism. He can do a lot of things. He could shut down a player. He can score. He's a great teammate. He controls his temper, he'll be even better. But, he's a great, great young man who is a tremendous competitor.
All right, let's welcome in Payton Davis here on the John Mendola Show. Payton, let's talk about that intensity. Obviously, some people, we either have it, we don't, we're born with it. You're a guy that brings it. So talk about what you love about the game. Is it just being able to get out there and compete, whether it's football or basketball?
I just like winning, honestly. I just try to do whatever I can to win, and I leave it all out there.
Talk about being a physical player. I mean, that's something I think that Coach Lyons just always had. I think it's something that it's in the blood, so to speak, in West Scranton. You get out on the court, you play hard, you play tough, you play to the whistle. So tell us a little bit about what some of the practices are like. I'm sure it gets physical in practice, and then it carries over into the games.
Yeah, we always have hard practices, so it translate over to the game, so we play hard in the game, and just try to be as tense as possible and play as much defense as possible.
Let's talk about the ability to score this year. Who are some of the guys you think will be putting the ball in the bucket there at Westside?
I think honestly everybody, all 5 starters could score the basketball. We got a lot of options. I mean, Kane's a returning starter, so I mean he's gonna have the ball in his hands most of the time, I feel like, and Nick could put the ball in the basket. Our other guy, Nick Frissetti, he could score, and I could shoot a little bit, but
as long as you get a couple points and then make that contribution. I'm sure Coach really leaning on you there defensively. And talk about what Coach talks about when he talks about playing some good defense.
Just playing with your feet instead of your hands, staying in front of your guy, turning them, and your teammates, too. They're a big help in defense, coming in, rotating over, and all that.
Next step for you, you're only a sophomore. You like to go to college. Are you thinking about playing sports at the next level a couple of years from now?
I'd like to. That'd be a great opportunity to go play football or basketball at the next level, but I still got a couple more years, still got time to figure that out, and when the time comes, I'm sure I'll be able to figure that out.
Let's talk about the type of player you are out there on the football field. What position do you play?
I play receiver and corner.
Okay. Which do you like, offense or defense more?
I like offense more.
All right. And let's talk about the little brother, Ben.
Yeah, he's 4. Ben Kane. He's a great guy. Great kid.
I'm sure he looks up to you as well, right?
Yeah, he does. He's at every basketball game, every football game. He knows all these guys. Well, got a lot of energy, like Nick.
There you go. You're talking about coming off an injury. Talk about how tough that was and just trying to get yourself healthy again.
Well, it was just waiting. That was the tough part. Sitting around watching practice. Watching those guys go through football. Tough loss at the end. It was hard. But just wanting to come back, wanting to win, wanting to play again that's what drove me.
Grandpa, for you, a role model. Tell us about your relationship.
I lived with my grandpa for a while. He buys my shoes. My basketball shoes, my cleats. Without him, I wouldn't really have most of the opportunities I have now.
All right. Well, shout out to Grandpa. We appreciate that, Payton. We wish you well this coming year. Keep it going. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Payton Davis there from the West Scranton basketball team. We're going to come back. We got a couple more players to talk to. We'll still continue the conversation. Coach Lyons, Coach, with us here from West Scranton, and we'll keep it going here on the John Mendola Show. We got some high school football we're going to talk about. Southern Columbia, Lackawanna Trail, Mark Duda, the Lackawanna College Falcons playing in Arizona today. That'll be a 3 o'clock start, so we'll get to those guys as well. We'll take a time out now, head out to our local State Farm insurance agent, Frank Soro. Catch break. Like a good neighbor, Frank Soro catches there. We'll be back here at WILK.